Welcome to the evolution of contract management. In today's session, I'm going to show you how Infor's contract management module can be used as a linchpin within supply chain management. My name is Parisi. I'm a senior supply chain consultant with ROI Healthcare Solutions. I bring over 20 years of experience in hospital supply chain management to the ROI team. My goal today is to bring that experience to you so you may better understand the need for a contract management solution within your organization. Let's start out with a brief introduction to my company, ROI Healthcare Solutions. ROI has been around since 1999. We were founded by several healthcare and health IT executives who had a great reputation in their own right. They combined the best parts of large consulting firms and health systems with their own visions for a high-performing, passionate, knowledgeable, and collaborative culture. That led to the birth of an award-winning partner to many providers across the country that would drive clinical, financial, and operational excellence for ERP, EHR, RevCycle, and RTLS initiatives. We have over 100 team members with deep experience with technology as well as the functional areas that they support. Our core offerings span across project management, consulting, implementation optimization services, application support. While we are mostly focused on healthcare, we do have several non-healthcare clients who benefit from our expertise and services, such as K-12 education, utilities, food service, among others. Within our core offerings, our engagement types vary based on what our customers' needs are. You can see here that we create roadmaps and conduct assessments to identify cost savings and efficiencies. We also lead and implement large projects that involve implementations, upgrades, and optimization projects. Our team is experienced in all phases of a traditional and agile program, including planning, design, development, testing, and go-live support. We also support over 100 different types of ERP, EHR, RevCycle, and RTLS applications within a number of scenarios, such as legacy systems, shared AMS, and post-sunset support. Additionally, our teams can be staffed on a project to work together using our unique methodologies and leading practices, as we can provide specific resources and expertise to augment your existing staff. Within ROI, we have a dedicated Infor ERP and digital transformation practice. We have hundreds of Infor projects under our belt with deep functional and technical expertise across finance, supply chain management, HCM, and technical areas. Our Infor project work and the results we bring to our clients include our Cloud Suite implementations, have helped us become the class category leader for both 2018 and 2019. We are also an Inforce Alliance partner with credentials in hospital, healthcare, extended care, and burst. Our customer needs are very diverse. Some are going through a merger, others have gone through less than ideal projects in the past, others want to be known in the industry as trailblazers and early adopters. We have the experience and positive reputation of transforming processes to become ideal for each organization, efficient across departments, and setting up Infor to align with your long-term vision for success. You can see on this slide that our projects span across multiple areas to meet the specific goals of each of our customers. So now that you know a little bit about us, let's take a look at today's topic. We are going to be reviewing the contracting landscape and what it means to you and your organization. Why use contract management? And more specifically, why use it now? Additionally, we'll show how contract management links to standard organizational vision, mission, and value statements. And finally, I want to leave you with some thoughts on how to implement and things to think about as you move forward. The first step by most organizations is going to be to identify rogue, that unpredictable spend, or maverick, independent spend. Why, you may ask? The simple answer is, this is the easiest to identify. It's been estimated that up to 18% of expected savings is lost on products purchased outside of the pre-negotiated supplier contracts, and 33% of the total products purchased by employees are committed outside of procurement. In addition, it is estimated that about 25% of all contracting FTE hours are used to manage discrepancies and issues for an organization. What gets measured gets managed. So how can I perform metrics if nearly 10% of all my contracts are lost? Research indicates that 18% of your expected savings is lost on products purchased off contracts. So what does this all mean to you? Well, by taking advantage of a contract management solution and Infor standard reports to review ordering patterns on specials or free text items, such as requisition items, RQ260, you begin to see where you have duplicate spend or missed volume discounts. This is all important because you want to be targeting that maverick and rogue spend. You want to be identifying why are your staff doing this. You can't understand the why if you don't even know they're doing it. So by developing these standard and repeatable processes around a contract management solution, you get to identify and resolve to a greater percentage the expected savings without overburdening your staff. The key is always to look at the data and see what it tells you. If the staff isn't using what you have, then it's key to go forward and figure out why. The next step in this process is to get a better understanding of what contracting means to your specific organization. Contracts aren't just a legal document that have gone through a long approval process, but they could be something as small as a vendor providing a product to a department upon their request without even using the procurement process. Contracts can be a verbal agreement all the way up to major spends that impact revenue. With this kind of variety of contracts, it's extremely important that you have a solution to manage it and an understanding of the staff on what you're doing. You want to remove the unknown and help the employees to help the organization. This is where a contract management solution can help. By using contracting as a start for all types of engagements and pricing, you begin to be able to monitor the status of the engagement from activation through utilization. In addition, you get your employees to feel like they're a part of the process instead of just a result of the process. As you can see on this slide, everyone within the organization has a different stake in getting the most from a contract solution. While many individuals view contracts as, that's someone else's problem, or it's someone else's responsibility, it truly takes everyone's involvement to maximize the effectiveness of a contract. Contracts and managing a contract solution may add some work to the front end of supply chain, but the long-term benefit and efficiency that an organization can realize will greatly outweigh this minimal upfront effort. Plus, if you develop clear and balanced roles and responsibilities, the work begins to be spread out among all key stakeholders, thus contributing to the overall success of contract management. Let's take a look at an example. A requester in the operating room identifies a new product line that a doctor is going to begin using for a specific procedure. By involving the contracted team before ordering, the best possible price can be obtained, and the items get to be loaded into the system prior to ordering. Now, when that requester orders the product, they're quickly able to identify the product within the system and order it without using any additional effort. Next, since the system already identifies the item, the buyer is able to quickly order the item from the appropriate vendor at the appropriate cost and the appropriate unit of measure. This in turn will allow the product to arrive that much sooner. Now, when the invoice comes in, the finance team will be able to quickly process that invoice because, again, everything exists within the system. Matching becomes quick and painless because everything is all set. Additionally, executives are able to be provided with analytics on the products that can lead to a better informed decision on the product line for the future. Are we getting the biggest bang for our buck in that procedure, or should we be looking at other procedures or other product lines? We're now able to start to compare different product types across the board so that we can identify the appropriate product for the appropriate situation. So now as we start to see the basic benefits of the contract solution, but as you can see by this graph, companies are still struggling to fully utilize the contract solution at their disposal. Only about 50% of contracts are stored electronically. This adds to extreme work by the staff. You have to go to the filing cabinet to get the contract, to validate a price, to get all that information. This slows down any kind of data analytics that you want to do regarding that contract. And in today's environment, organizations continue to do more with less. So by utilizing a contract management solution, an organization is able to take full control of the system and the processes. Think of it in these terms also. By putting the contract into the system and using the contract management solution, email alerts can be set up to remind staff that a contract is expiring, instead of waiting for a price discrepancy to occur on an invoice to trigger any kind of a review. That will just add to the workload of the staff. Additionally, milestones and deliverables can be added to the contract to monitor the status of the vendor. This allows us to evaluate our vendors without waiting for the vendor to provide us data. It's always easier to look at a vendor and say, hey, you're constantly shorting us on our items. Or why do we constantly have price discrepancies on contracted items? As opposed to asking the vendor, do we have any problems? Always want to be able to do your own work, not rely on the vendors for your own data. Along with data analytics is becoming more and more important to the executives. Executives want to be able to report, what are we doing? How are we making money on our procedures? What's our margins? Looking at how can we be most efficient in providing the products to our customers or our staff without impacting the revenue cycle that's coming in. So now, why has there been a big push for organizations to begin fully utilizing contract management solutions? Well, beginning in about 2016, reports were coming out that the costs associated with supply management were going to begin to exceed the labor and productivity costs for organizations. And here we are, approaching 2020, and that prediction is coming true. Since more of your organization's expenditures are getting related to supplies, it only makes sense to invest and utilize a program that will allow you to take full advantage when you negotiate that great price on a supply. Again, the analytics that can be gathered from these additional data points will allow executives and team members to make informed decisions on what vendors to use, what product lines are being used effectively. Remember, data makes every system work, and the better and more data that we can put in our systems, the better we can perform our jobs. So let's look at the definition of contracting and contract management. As we've been saying, everybody kind of looks at it a little differently. Well, this is very telling. As spend and costs associated to managing spend management categories is increased, organizations still seem to struggle defining roles and responsibilities on who really owns contract management. Is it a business source? Is it a legal source? Or is it some combination thereof? While the answer may be easy, as we've previously demonstrated, everyone owns contracting management. It's up to each organization to set the rules on how these contracts will be created and any workflows associated with each type. Think about it this way. If the contracting team negotiates a phenomenal price, but the requesters are not told to use the product, what have we accomplished? That's where defining clear and concise expectations within your organization can go a long way towards your success. When we begin to look at these expectations, start to think about answering some simple questions. When is it okay to buy a product that's not on a contract? What types of contracts need to have legal involvement versus procurement can handle it because it's only a pricing agreement? How do I add a product line to a contract? Or something as simple as, what's the first step? Who do I call? The more training and the more definition that you put into these roles and responsibility, the easier it is for the employees to know they're doing the right thing. And if they're doing the right thing, everybody in the organization wins. So one of the things I've noticed over the years is that everyone in every organization has common vision, mission, and value statements that they use for their organization. If we take a look at these, we can see contract management can assist and fulfill and even maintain a lot of these goals. Organizations want to provide high levels of care, yet remain responsible and accountable to their communities. We can do this by systematically managing our contract processes and working to utilize the analytics that are provided. Again, if you negotiate a price on a specific product only to have the staff use something different, or don't realize when your ordering pattern has moved you to a better tier, are we really providing the best return on investment for both the organization and the customers that we serve? So now I'm going to look at two case studies that ROI has been involved in. This first one is about an organization that was offboarding from a shared system to their own standalone CSF system. They decided that they were going to use ROI as a partner in helping them build out their contracting system. We went in, helped them define roles, responsibilities, began reviewing their data and making sure that the data was as clean as possible. As a result of this effort, the organization noticed an initial improvement in requisition efficiency of more than 20%. This was led by requesters easily identifying what they needed, which in turn improved the efficiencies of all the downstream processes. POs were more accurate, product was arriving without issue and quickly, and matching began to be occurred through automation as opposed to constantly addressing issues. In addition, their item master maintenance and identification was greatly improved. By simply starting from a contract and then creating the items, standards begin to be developed. You want the contract to be that starting point, because if you start at the same point every time, it makes it easier to have that repeatable process. There's no second guessing by the staff. Is this correct? Is this what I want to do? Yes, it is, because we're contracting for that item. Now, in this next case study, ROI worked with a larger facility that wanted to expand the capabilities of their contracting module. So in this case, they didn't want to just improve their pricing and workflow efficiencies. They wanted to take advantage of some of the more advanced portions of the contracting module. They started by adding specials to their contracts. This allowed the requesters to see pricing and take advantage of contracting efforts without expanding the item master for infrequently used items. Secondly, by utilizing the strategic sourcing part of contract management, they're now able to use the system to interact with their suppliers in creating and viewing these new contracts. So now, instead of waiting for emails and phone calls, the system can track the contract status. If you add approvals to the mix, Executives and legal teams can become involved and understand exactly what the organization's initiatives are accomplishing. Again, the organization wins across the board with an efficient contract management solution. When looking to implement or expand your use of contract management, you're going to want to think about a couple different things. First is taking the time to understand the data you already have in the system. If you've got an older system or a lot of items within your system, you're going to want to make sure that they're as clean as possible to assist in adding those contracts to begin with. Because remember, what's already in the system needs a price and a contract too, but it didn't start in that contract. Going forward, because we're starting in the contract module, the data becomes repeatable. Next will be that clearly defining those roles and responsibilities to make the environment easier to manage. You want to understand what the buyer's role in contracting is, what the requester's role is, what finance's role is within contracting. Everybody holds a piece of that process. So you want employees to feel like they are part of that process, not just a roadblock to change. Additionally, I want to leave you with this. Remember, Infor Contract Management is more than just a repository for price files. It's a full contracting solution, and as you get more comfortable in its functionality, begin to explore its expanded use. Explore the sourcing module. Explore how to add specials to your contracts. Engage with your executives on roles and responsibilities. You never want to remain static. You want to take what you got today and improve. Where are your pain points and improve them? And a contract management solution is a great way to start. Hopefully this short webinar has been insightful and you're now ready to attract those contracting needs and take full advantage of your contract management solution. Additional supply chain, finance, and HCM learning opportunities, webinars, and blogs can also be found at our website, roihs.com. Any additional questions or to discuss specific supply chain needs, please reach out to our team